Today we're going to be talking about the best credit cards for service members and veterans, the benefits, and why you should use them. All right, leading off the list, we've got the American Express or Amex card. Now, generally speaking, people are talking about the Platinum card, but there is also the Gold card. And in case you can't tell by the fact that I have 3 of these, I am a fan. Now, I will say you don't need 3 of these. The reason I have 3 is because this one was the original. This is the one I got while serving in the military. And then I got a business Amex for my business. And then as we started running more Facebook ads and advertisements, I upgraded to the Amex Gold because one of the benefits on this is that you get 4 times the points on advertising spend, which means with the amount of money I'm spending right now, I'm getting quite a bit of points that help go towards travel. The reason these are good for like active duty is because the Amex cards waive the fee for active duty service members, which I believe the fee is like $695 a year on the basic Platinum card. And so to have that waived and still get all the benefits is very beneficial, right? So some of the benefits of the Amex Platinum involve the Centurion lounges. So if you're traveling a lot, like if you're going through San Francisco or a lot of these airports, you get access to these premium lounges, which means you can eat decent and somewhat healthy meals, get some drinks, all on the house, have coffee, whatever. You have a nice quiet place to work, relax, rest, outside of the USO, where you can basically live a much more comfortable life while traveling and not have to spend all that money on airport food because you can eat at the lounge. There's a ton. There are so many benefits to the Amex Platinum. Some of the cool ones that you might touch on a lot are like Uber and Uber Eats discounts. They give discounts on hotels. You get points for travel and flights and whatever. There's a ton of different benefits there, but the Amex Platinum is a very loaded card with a ton of benefits that because it waives the fee for active duty, it's not like I'm a fan. Now, again, this is going to be better for like active duty folks with strong credit scores who can actually leverage these benefits because you're going to get things like, again, the travel benefits, the elite hotel status. There's a lot of perks here, but if you're not traveling or not able to use them, this may not be the card for you. Now, the next one on the list is the Chase Sapphire Reserve. I actually have the Unlimited, the Business Unlimited card, not the Chase Sapphire Reserve. And that's really just because, again, I'm running the business through this stuff. But the Sapphire Reserve is a great card for travel benefits. And again, this one under the MLA or Military Lending Act, like this one, again, waives the fees for active duty, and you're going to get a bunch of different travel perks. So if you're looking for those travel benefits, the Chase Sapphire Reserve is another great option. You can get up to like $300 in travel credits. You get access to these premium lounges. You get a premium lounge pass. And then they've also got like excellent travel protections for, if something comes up on your travel, because again, you're a service member, things change. So this is a nice benefit. So this one's better for just active duty who travel a ton. Again, so that and the Amex are both great for traveling. Now, another great card is the USAA Cashback Rewards. Now, I do have a USAA card, but it's not that one, so I figured I don't need to just keep flashing cards at you. The USAA Cashback Rewards Plus card has some unique benefits, such as 5% cash back on purchases that you make on base. So while you're serving, even if you're buying gas on base, you get 5% cash back on that. Commissary, PX, whatever. If you're spending money on base, you're going to get 5% back, which if you spend $200 a month on gas, that means you're going to get $10 back every month in cash rewards. So, it's just a nice little 5% discount essentially for anything you buy on base. So I'd say if you're frequently shopping or refueling on base, this is a card that makes sense for you. Another set of cards is either the Discover It Cashback or Discover It Secured. The Secured would be for like somebody who doesn't really have a credit score and is looking to get started. It's a good option as a secured card to help get you into those credit scores for these additional cards. But the Discover It Cashback has strong rewards, up to, from what I'm seeing, 10% in various categories that you can get back over the year. So this card doesn't have the annual fees and you're going to get good cash back. So if you're using your card to buy things, then this is a good way to get a little bit back. But again, don't just spend the money and let it sit. You got to pay your card back down. You don't want to get stuck in this. 10% cash back on 18% interest is not a winning game. The Bilt MasterCard is great for anyone who rents a space off base because it allows you to pay rent without fees in order to earn points. So if you're paying $2,000 or $3,000 a month in like San Diego on rent, then you can get points back on that money you're spending on rent anyway, which is going to give you a higher points balance that you can then utilize to go and travel or, however you want to do. So for those who aren't familiar with the credit card game, points can be reimbursed for, cash back, or awards within their program or flights or hotels or travel or whatever. And so depending on how that program works out, if you can use a credit card to pay your rent, then you can rack up points. So basically the way this would look is use the credit card to pay rent, use your BAH to pay the card right away every single month. So I would set it up to where like on the first it pays rent, on the second BAH goes in to pay the card. And so you're never paying the interest on it, but you're getting the points back from money you had to pay for rent anyway. So getting the points is just a bonus, right? So that, to me, made sense as a good card to throw up here. Now, I'm just going to run through a list of a couple other strong contenders. Those were the 5 that I think probably make the most sense. One of these top contenders I already showed you is the Amex Gold Card, which, again, I mentioned 4x points for, like, Facebook ads and stuff, but that probably doesn't apply to you. But it does have really strong points returns for, like, dining out or groceries. So if you're somebody who likes to eat out or, you buy your groceries off base, this could be a good way to just rack up some additional points, on money you're already having to spend, but again, pay the card down. Another benefit here is the PenFed Platinum Rewards Visa card. Some of these names are ridiculous. I'm just going to read this. The PenFed Platinum Rewards Visa Signature Card, which has strong fuel purchases. So, again, depending on your fuel balance, this could be a beneficial one and doesn't have overuse of fees. And then Navy Federal has a cash rewards card as well as a secured card. I have a Navy Federal business card, but again, the secured card would be for somebody who's looking to get started with maximizing their credit to actually build a credit. And then the cash rewards card for somebody building cash. And, Navy Fed, if you already bank there, it just kind of makes sense to just stay within that ecosystem. Another good one is the Capital One Venture X, which is a premium travel card with a lot of benefits, but a lower fee than the Platinum. But if you're still active duty, the Platinum fee is getting waived anyway, so I don't know that you need to touch that one. And then we can get into all the niche stuff like the Delta or the Hilton or like the hotel and flight and what. You don't need to get into all that stuff. I will say, if you travel a ton and you're, like for me, I'm an American Airlines guy. Like I got the City Advantage card recently, which gets me their lounge access and free upgrades every now and then on seats. So with the amount I travel, that card made sense for me, and that's my most recent one. But again, if you're not traveling that much, you're not really going to take advantage of it, you definitely don't have to do this. Okay, now I feel like I need to say this, right? Credit cards are a tool. They are not something you should or can ever abuse. And I don't want anybody to ever come back to this video and be like, Dave recommended an Amex, and now my financial situation is dog because I spent all my money on it and never paid the bill. Look, credit cards are a tool. They're very beneficial if you pay them down. You don't want to get into a rolling, limit. So like if you're not in a financial spot where you can trust yourself to swipe the credit card and pay it off in full, swipe the credit card and pay it off in full at the end of the month, then you should just stay away from the credit cards right now. Because the last thing you need to do is be like in a mediocre financial position and then start racking up credit card debt at 10, 15, 18, 20, 22, 24% interest. And now you're stuck paying $250 a month minimum on a card when you can't even get ends to meet over here because you weren't able to pay the card off. So like, don't be swiping the credit card on stuff that you're not able to reimburse it for, right? And I struggled with this. When I was young, I had the Military Star card, I had another card, and at one point I had like $16,000 in credit card debt that I had to pay off, and that was painful. It took a long time, and it took a lot of ammo out of my investing, right? 16 grand earning interest, like that's a surefire way to hurt your financial situation. So do not start spending this money if you can't pay it down. Within the business, we spend a very large amount of money on credit cards. I spend more money in a month on credit cards in the business than I used to earn in a year. That's very uncomfortable, but I also pay it down every month to zero. And we've built to that slowly, and the business covers all the costs. And it's still, I recognize, if I get into a tough spot and I've got a significant chunk of debt on a credit card, that can just destroy my financial situation. So that is something I always pay down. I try not to ever run a balance, and I only use it on things that I know are going to return money back to us because I don't want to set us up for failure. So just know that you can scale with these cards and you can get a ton of points and a ton of benefits. And I mean, I'm flying first class through business points on trips to Europe earlier this year, and it was all covered on points and it was great. But that's like the perk of doing this right and getting to a level where, it makes sense. But like as a young service member, you really shouldn't be maximizing your cards at all. You should be like, using them once or twice a month, pay it off just to keep building your credit. There's a very smart way to run credit cards, and it's below 30% balance. So if you have a $10,000 limit, less than $3 grand ever on the card, and pay it down, pay it off, right? You want to have low credit utilization, which is that percentage of your total limit. You want to pay your stuff on time. You don't want to be running into where it's actually racking up interest. So you want to pay it down within that month every single time, if not within that week. You want to make sure that you're not carrying a balance. You want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. You just want to be using these credit cards as a tool to capitalize on a little bit of extra points or a little bit of cash back on stuff that you're spending money on anyway. You don't want to use a credit card if it's going to be something where you're like, ooh, I wasn't going to buy that, but now I can. And then you're stuck paying it off and running a balance, because that's just shooting yourself in the foot financially. So I actually wrestled with whether or not to film this video, because I just hate these gurus who just run around talking about credit cards, but I get asked about it a lot. And the bottom line is this: they're a tool. They can be beneficial. There are points. This is not a sponsored video. I will say, just because I'm, full transparency, I will drop a link down below for the 2 or 3 cards on this list that I have, if you want to go apply for like the Amex or the Chase Sapphire, or just check them out. And yes, full disclosure, if I drop the link for my Amex and you click on it, I will get, I don't know, I think it's like 10,000 points if you join. So like there's a little bit of an incentive there. But again, I'm earning like 250,000 points a month right now on my cards. So I don't really care about that bonus. I'm just giving you the link so you don't have to go Googling around to try to find this card. The bottom line is this: I showed you my cards. This is what I use. I am not trying to pitch you on this, and I'm imploring with you, if your financial situation is not where it needs to be, don't touch these things. They're pouring fuel on a bad fire. You don't want that. But if you're in a good spot financially and you're just like, oh, I do travel a lot, I'd like some lounge access, or I'd like some cash back on my, my groceries and my fuel or whatever, and you're going to use it intelligently, then these are some cards that can help you out. And as I've said a million times, they're tools. Use them correctly. Do not hurt your financial situation. So now, if you have a credit card that you think should be on this list, or maybe I said something and you're like, that's a terrible card, like, comment down below. I'd love to, see what you guys are using. There's a lot of people out there who are better at this like point hacking thing than I am, where they're able to travel hack and use their cards to travel for free. I am not an expert at that. I just use the site points.me and I put all my points in, and then I can buy trips to wherever off of those points. But all that being said, just be careful with your credit cards. I have seen credit cards wreck people. And I do not want anybody who watches this video to fall into that trap. And I definitely don't want anyone to come back and try to blame me for it. Do not get a credit card unless you are financially responsible and in a decent space. And then if you're going to get one, use it more for the credit benefit and or the travel benefit than ever to rack up run a balance on it. So that's my cautionary tale to you. But I hope this helped. Have a great day.